So maybe if you can just give a bit of background about where you grew up and like how, because I know that you went to art college. Like, how did you start your
Okay,
life of art? How did you?
I was a smart kid growing up in Denver, Colorado, in the days before there were girls' sports, really way taller than everybody else around, feeling very much like the ugly duckling. And I stumbled across an art teacher who made it hard, who gave me rules, who said, color is mixed this way. You use a pencil this way. None of the, oh, just do what you want kind of art teaching, but really structured. And it totally worked for me. So I loved her, found a place in the art room, developed friends and connections with the other people who hung out with her in the art room. We really had this like little cluster. And she encouraged me and a bunch of us to submit a portfolio of work to a big show. And I didn't get the top prize. I came in second, and that year they only gave one prize.
Oh, was that a bit hard for you?
It actually was kind of like indicative of some other things I've seen in this world. But anyway, so I told the guidance counselor, I want to go to art school. I want to be an artist. And was a bunch of pushback. I was smart. I could have been a lady engineer. What was I doing? Don't you know that artists never make any money? All that kind of stuff. Maybe it's the time. Maybe they still do that. So anyway, I went to the University of Colorado, big public university, rigorous art school, as it turns out. Really, I went 5 years instead of 4 years because I just couldn't stop taking art classes. And it was like all good undergraduate education. It blew my mind. I mean, art history blew my mind, everything. There is a world and it is big, and isn't it great? So I became an art teacher.
Right.
That was the thing. And I did.
So what, just to go back to your art college. So when was that? Was that late 70s, was it? Or
yeah, 76.
Like, where are we?
I graduated. I got my BFA in 76, I think.
Okay. Right. And when you were at art college, do you remember any particular, I mean, like what kind of work were you just experimenting with lots of different stuff?
So
or like, were you doing
so I had the inspirational moments were a graduate TA who took us through Alber's book on color. And we had these brilliant pieces of paper that were painted in color, and we did his exercises, and that was mind-blowing. The fact that you can put bright yellow on any color background, it remains bright yellow, but you put kind of this mushy orange on backgrounds and you won't know it's the same color background to background. Amazing to me. And then I had a professor who was quite a well-known artist. A lot of these, one thing that's really interesting about going to a university is that the academics who teach there, the professors, have an opportunity to be pretty well-known artists in their own right, because they have the luxury, right, of teaching a couple of hours a week, and the rest of the time they're very well paid, to be honest. And so,
well, back then maybe, I don't know about now.
That was his. So he was did these really big pieces, but he was all about color as well. And he taught me, I did an independent study with him, and he taught me to use Pantone color sheets and to define the colors I was going to use before I went into the piece. And that really made a difference in my the solidness of my understanding of color. And then we had a couple of people who were just critique crazy. So every 2 weeks, everybody put all their work up on the board and everybody tore it to pieces. And I remember one professor who said, who was a lithography class, he said, well, your rock, I was quite proud of this lithograph. I'd made it work. It didn't fill in. It was all things that were, lithography's hard. And he said, those rocks look like dough balls. Well, they did look like dough balls, actually. He was right. It was shocking to me.
Yeah.
But that's really good. And that's actually something that I see and have heard since professional artists talk about where do we get that in our professional art life? Where do we get that place where people
Critique.
say, really, is your diligence falling off the charts here? Did you really think that was a good piece?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So but do you have that with any of could you have a circle of artists who kind of, that you do
I haven't
any kind
found
of
that,
critique
but
with?
it's on the horizon. There's a couple. So I'm part of a visual artists organization in Kinsale, Atlantic artists, and the other artists are primarily landscape people, and somewhere in the range from hobbyists to professional artists. They came to the art a little later. They do or don't rebel against the idea that an artist should have a thought so their reason for being an artist and my reason for being an artist evolved at different times of our lives. So I'm a young person and I'm being presented by this picture of you have to create a completely new idea for yourself and a new name, and how are you going to impact the art world as a driving force. And these people kind of came to it later, and it was more, do you know how to paint, and that so different. So I'm seeing now a range, and I don't have the level in my life that I would like to have, but then I'm also an academic. So, in between art and now art, there was this long period of time where I got a doctorate in educational research, and I've written several books, and I've done all these other things. And so my mind loves that keen, provocative, which is why I love the gallery companion.